Last weekend, I got to attend the Sonic Symphony for the very first time at the Warner Theater in Washington, D.C., and I had an absolute blast. Now, I've been to events like this before. I've seen the Batman with an orchestra playing the entire time you're watching the movie, along with Into the Spider-Verse, where they had a DJ and an orchestra playing while you watch the movie. But this was on a whole new level. It was, out of all the events, the most packed. It had a bunch of hardcore Sonic fans there, from little kids all the way up to people my age, to even like elderly people I saw in the crowd. People had glow sticks. People were dressed up in cosplay. And like I said, it was sold out. It was wall-to-wall packed. So in this video, I'm going to go over my experience, kind of talk about what I felt about the event, show off some footage. I wasn't annoying. I didn't have my phone out the entire time. Just for a lot of the big moments, I would pull it out for a second, record a couple minutes, and then put it away. I definitely encourage you, if you haven't already, to check out the Sonic Symphony. The musicians are so talented, and it just is such a great time. I will not be doing it justice with my words and a little bit of my footage here and there. But yeah, with that aside, we get to the theater. We were right there on time. I personally didn't dress up, but there were a lot of kids and adults that were in full Sonic attire. It was really cool to see. It was like a Comic-Con meets orchestra meets rock concert towards the end, and it was just all great vibes. The energy was super, super great. When they were doing the countdown to just start the symphony, everyone was getting super hyped. And even for the first act, which is also funny because it's like there's acts in like this production, but then there's also acts in Sonic games. Anyway, besides the point, the first act is a lot more of the classical symphony, really focusing on the wind and string instruments. And then the second half is what a lot of people really came for, which is the guitar, the band, the rock and roll. There is a orchestra behind that, but the first half is very classical, very, how I should say, fancier, but still, while they were playing, they had video game footage up of Sonic. They had cutscenes. It was very emotional, and people were still cheering and laughing the entire time. And it gave me a little bit of joy that, like, okay, maybe the arts aren't dead. Maybe people can still enjoy this. Because even kids were enjoying it, even though they had no idea what games they were seeing in front of them, because they started off with the original Sonic the Hedgehog, with the Sonic the Hedgehog medley, where they showed footage of the different zones in the original Sonic the Hedgehog game while playing the music and putting it all together in a medley. So basically a string of all these different, levels and designs, and it really flowed very well. The crowd, like I said, was laughing and cheering the entire time. So they did that with Sonic the Hedgehog. They did it with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I have right here. Next was Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles medley. And then I thought they were going to do Sonic CD or Sonic Spinball, but they, to my surprise, moved to Sonic Mania, which was really cool to see that game get some love. From the Sonic Mania medley, we jump forward in time to a game that I like to call Sonic Adventure, and they played both Believe in Myself and It Doesn't Matter, the orchestra versions, and it was just so cool and so beautiful to hear those versions of the song while watching footage of Sonic Adventure on the screen. Then the crowd went absolutely nuts as we went into Sonic Adventure 2 and played the Chow medley. I got to admit, as they were rounding out the first act of Sonic Symphony, I did get a little bit teary-eyed when they did the Sonic Heroes medley and the Sonic Frontiers medley. I don't know why. It's just kind of the way the chords go and the way it just beautifully and elegantly goes. For Sonic Heroes, it was definitely more so the nostalgia of it all, but Sonic Frontiers, it was definitely like, wow, this was some powerful music writing when they were labbing this before the game came out. They also did quite a bit of Sonic 06 representation, which I was surprised about, but also very happy. And they did his Silver's theme. Right before we went into intermission, the conductor was talking about how they had some special guests, and he's very glad that we were just warming up our vocal cords by sitting and listening to the music to get ready for the second half. And that's when I knew we were in for a treat, that they were going to be a rock band coming out to jam with us on stage. And this is when I started to get really excited. And I kind of feel bad for the orchestra because it's like they're really talented and they're very good at what they do. And it's very elegant and very crafty and very fancy. But this is Sonic music. We want the guitar. We want the rock vocals. So now it's kind of time for their moment to die down and for a new star to shine. And man, did a star ever shine when the lead singer of a band known as the Seven Spires, Adrian Cohen, came out on stage, and she absolutely rocked the house. I checked out the band, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not really, vibing with that style, but what she did vocally for these Sonic tracks coming up was just awestruck. We're so used to having a very strong male vocalist for these Sonic songs. It's really nice to have a female rock presence, and I think she killed it. I think some songs she did better than the original artists. No shade to any of the other artists that work on Sonic songs. You guys are great. I'm just saying, for some version of these songs, hearing a female version of it was just really, really cool. Sonic Symphony does something really amazing where they rotate out the artists that perform for the rock pieces, and they have special guests and stuff like that depending on what city they're in touring. So sometimes you'll actually get like a Crush 40 member to come out, or you will just get, somebody else from a different rock band that they picked up, and they're just using, these more localized talent, and I think that's absolutely great. But the set lists also change depending on what show you go to. That's what's so fascinating, is because there's so many Sonic songs you can pick from a catalog that they actually have different songs that they play for the set list. I was overhearing some people behind me when I was leaving after the end of the show that have been to multiple Sonic Symphonies, and they say each time they go, it's a bit of a different experience because they might be getting a different artist with the band, or they're just getting completely different songs in the second half because there's so many great rock songs out there. So I just thought that was so cool, and I really like the pick that they did for this one. Yeah, they started the second rock act with I Am All of Me, and when I tell you, we stood up ever since that song started. Once that song played and everyone got up on their feet, no one sat down for the rest of the concert. It was so hype and so great to start off with such a banger. And yes, we all cheered when Maria got shot. I don't know what it was, but when they started playing All Hail Shadow, there was this primal instinct in me to just start a mosh pit. It was so good. And like I said, you have a female lead that's kind of doing the front work for this song. So it was just really cool to get that like female metal vocals in there. It was so good. Speaking of so good, Black Knight got some representation with Night of the Wind, so let me tell you, I was with my brother, I took him with me. He's very familiar with Sonic songs because I kind of just played the games all the time while he sat around and watched me, and I would beat him up every time I got frustrated with the game. But besides the point, he's not as versed with the Sonic music, but when he heard this song, he was like, wow, this is hype. And I was like, yeah, this is more of a sleeper one, but it's really good. Then you get the iconic chord progression of the guitar, and we jump right into Escape from the City. And it's just as great as you thought. Everyone was singing along. Everyone knew the words. It was loud. It was booming. It was absolutely phenomenal. His World played, and I got goosebumps. His World has been probably my top 4 Sonic songs of all time, and I knew they were going to play it. It's just, when it hit, I was still kind of like struck with awe at just how perfect it was.
Don't be shy. Let's go.
Then they went for a Knuckles twist. They came out and rapped to the Pumpkin Hill song and immediately moved into Unknown from M.E. And the female vocalist kind of took a backseat for this. She didn't rap. She did like the female like secondary vocals for the Unknown from M.E. But besides that, she kind of definitely like let the men kind of take lead. And that's probably why I thought this wasn't as great. It wasn't as, strong, was because they didn't have her. They weren't matching her energy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It was still very good, but it was kind of like the low point of the second act, in my opinion.
Look, I'm looking for my Knuckles fans right now. How about we do a couple Knuckles tracks for you guys, alright? You guys want to get a little spooky tonight? Let's hear it. You know me, the flying free runners, and do the funky hill. You ready? I ain't gonna let it get to me, I'm just gonna creep. Down in Pumpkin Hill, I got to find a lost piece. I know that it's here, I can sense it in my feet.
Oh, I completely forgot. Before this, they also did Endless Possibility, which is probably why I also thought that this was kind of like Whiplash. Because when you do Endless Possibility and then go right into a song rapping about pumpkins and Rouge being sexy, it kind of changes the tone a little bit. The next three songs were from Sonic Frontiers, and they went hard because you got the screaming, you got the metal. It wasn't Kellen Quinn. I would have probably pooped my pants if he came out on stage and started singing. Oh my gosh, could you imagine that? I probably would have broke down crying because I have a lot of issues. But they did Break Through It All, Find Your Flame, and I'm Here. I'm kind of clunking these all together because when you're up and standing and screaming and shouting and doing these three songs back to back, it all kind of blends in together in the most beautiful way possible. And then the lights go black, and this is where I was like, okay, they wanted us to scream encore for them to come back on stage and do the next few songs. But the problem with that was I think the audience didn't really know that's what was going on because the lights just stayed out and like we were just cheering because it was so hyped because of I'm Here. And then they didn't do Live and Learn. And so like I thought that they would do Live and Learn and then walk off stage and then everyone would be like encore, encore, encore. But they were trying to play it off as like I'm Here was going to be the end because the lyrics, it's the end of the show. So it just felt kind of awkward because they went off stage and everyone was still just like clapping, but no one was going like encore, encore. So they kind of just trotted back out, and that's when they hit us with three other songs. And I gotta say, these were the best of the whole night. I am glad that they saved these for last. But before that, we actually sang a very happy birthday to a very talented music producer that was there and has been throughout all of Sonic Symphony, and that is Shota. From there, they did the impossible and made a Sonic R medley that I didn't hate. I'll be honest, Supersonic Racing and Can You Feel the Sunshine, I'm not a fan of those songs. I don't really like them. She killed it. She made it her own, and it was just... It was beautiful. I don't know how else to describe or emulate like the joy that I felt from hearing that. It took it from being like my least favorite songs to some of my best, only if it's her version. That's how good she sang it. Then we went into Live and Learn. There's, I mean, what do you say there? It's Live and Learn. And to end the night, they did an acoustic version, so they stripped everything down, just did guitar. They did like a quartet of the female singer, the guy that was rapping and did some vocal parts that was really good, Shoda, and even the conductor, who was even singing partially in some of the other songs too. They all sang One Way Dream, and the lyrics for that song are so powerful and so beautiful, and they just elevated it with making it as intimate as possible to end the night. I'm actually not going to play this song for the video just because I want to treasure it and encourage you guys to go out and see Sonic Symphony and hear it for yourself. This is not an advertisement. This is not a sponsorship. I just really think that that has to be experienced in person. And yeah, that was my Sonic Symphony experience for the first time. Will I do it again? Absolutely. This was so fun. The people that I was around and witnessing were so great. The performers were fantastic. The song selection was mwah, chef's kiss. And the fact that they switch it up at each show, I think is really special and just shows how much they care. And that's, I think, the magic sauce that Sonic Symphony has, is the passion. They knew what the Sonic fans wanted to hear and see, and they delivered on it. And without Sonic music, Sonic would not nearly be as good as it is. Now, I know that might be a little bit of a controversial take, but I really do think so. I think if the music wasn't good for some of these Sonic games, they would have just completely fell to the wayside. But because the music has always been top-notch, if not above the standard of video games, I don't know. I'm losing words here, guys. I've also been rambling on for too long. The last things I want to say is I was a little bit disappointed we didn't get any Sonic Riders or Secret Rings tracks. I know those are a little bit more niche titles, and maybe they play them at other shows. I don't know. If you've been to a Sonic Symphony and they've played those, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for listening to me ramble about this journey that I went on. Hopefully, I've encouraged some of you to check it out yourself. If you've already been, let me know your experiences down below. I'm very curious to hear what songs you heard and how you enjoyed it or even didn't enjoy it. I'm very curious. I'm OCDsaster, and I hope you have a super Sonic rest of your day. See ya!